Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Writing adjustment letter when we are granting the adjustment is very easy. Why is it easy? It is easy because we are granting what the customer is waiting for. So, as you have seen in the previous lecture, that it was very easy to grant adjustment in favor of a claim to any customer. But we do not always grant adjustments. It is not appropriate, because in certain circumstances we feel that the adjustment cannot be granted. So in that case we have to write letter refusing adjustment. This happens in the situation when we find, after analyzing the whole situation of the claim, that it is the customer who is at fault and we as seller are not at fault. So in this situation we must write a letter. Obviously, as businessman you would not like to write such a letter, and as a reader, as customer, a person would not like to read such letter. But in a business circumstance we have to write such letter, as we have seen that at times we have to say no to the customer or to any request that we have received. So when we have to write a letter of adjustment in which we do not grant the adjustment, we have to be very careful, because we don't want to lose the customer. We have to give an understanding to the customer that we consider him very important and we have learnt his part of the story, but now it's our part of the story to be narrated. So here two things are very important. One, we have to say no. I mean, after considering this situation, we have come to the conclusion that it's not possible to grant the adjustment, right? So one is to say no, and the other to rebuild customer goodwill. This is very important. As I just said, that we cannot lose a customer. If we lose one, we'll have to look for another. So what's the use of losing one? So these letters require a very sensitivity on the part of the letter writer of in such a situation. So when you come across such a situation, you need to be careful regarding writing this type of a letter and follow the guideline. So you begin your letter in such a way that you support the reader's point of view in your buffer paragraph. You got to give the reader a logical solution to his problem. You have to begin your letter by accepting the viewpoint of the reader, that you understand his problem. So we can say that the buffer is giving an understanding or appreciating the problem of the reader. So in the beginning of such a letter, we are trying to arrange facts in such an order that we feel that we are taking the reader with us, and at the end of the letter he is also going to believe what we have said to him, as we believe the same thing. So support the reader's point of view in your buffer, and then taking him towards a logical solution, assure the customer that the request is appreciated and has received individual consideration. You know that the problem of the reader is very much important for him. Here you have to show him that you also have the same amount of importance for that problem. So you tell the reader that you really honor his viewpoint, but under certain circumstances it is not possible. So after that, we give an explanation to the reader. So when we are coming to the explanation of the reader, the very important thing is that if we have received a letter which was written in an angry tone, we must avoid to pay back in the same coin. We must not write such sentences that you did not follow the instruction. I mean, we don't have to lecture the customer. We don't have to use any annoying word that you failed to read the instruction, it was your mistake, it was your error. So it's very important that we explain the situation. Explain the situation means that, for example, you have been sent any gadget by any of your customer with a complaint that it has developed some defect. When you send that product of yours to your repair department or any concerned department, and they reported that it was not used according to the instruction. So in this situation, you must explain the exact situation to the reader, that how the certain product or certain gadget has developed that certain defect. But you must explain it in such a way that the reader feels that he is being given a very fair judgment about the product that he had bought. So explain the situation and be very truthful and factual in narrating the facts. Do not use angry word, as I just said. Be very friendly, be very helpful, be very courteous, and most of all, take care for the you attitude in this part of the letter, because when we write these type of messages saying no to the reader, we need you attitude more than any other quality. It doesn't mean that we do not require other qualities, but this quality is very important. So in this explanation part, you have to take the reader with you to the acceptance of the fact. So after that, you have to give your decision. So when you are going to give your decision, you got to be very courteous. And when you are in this frame of mind, you have to avoid every type of negative accusation, etc. Sometime at this point, we are influenced by the language of the letter, claim letter that we have received. But again, we have to strike a balance between our emotion and our judgment. So we need to be friendly, rational, and professional. Here we give the verdict and we tell. Sometimes we do not need to give the decision in exact word, since the decision is employed. So whatever the case is, we have to explain our decision very rationally. After that, we have to try to leave the reader in a pleasant frame of mind. This is the end part of the letter. Because even if we are not granting adjustment, we want to retain the customer, and to retain the customer, we want to end the letter with such a feeling that the reader comes into a friendly frame of mind. So end your letter with a positive closing. Here we sometimes can use some sale promotional material, or we can ask the reader to for some future help, or we can suggest some other thing which may not be exactly concerned with the requested product or thing, but it may be some future promise. So this is how we write refusal letter to adjustment. We take care of the reader's point of view, we appreciate his problem, we explain the situation, we use very courteous language in our letter, and we end the letter with a positive closing, leaving the reader in a pleasant frame of mind. So let's look at a letter written following the same guideline. Dear Mr. Hassan, thank you for your purchase of 10 super fax machines. You have recently returned 4 machines due to a malfunction in the paper feeder. We are sorry that we are unable to comply with your request to credit your account for the full price of the machines. These items were sold at a special clearance rate and we do not give credit or refunds on clearance items. However, we will be happy to honor the service and maintenance agreement. Your satisfaction is important to us. If we can assist you in understanding the functions of your fax machine, please contact our customer service hotline at this number. So, if you look at this letter, apart from the beginning, the buffer, the middle part, the explanation and the decision, if you concentrate on the last paragraph of this letter, you will feel that how the writer of the letter has left the reader of this letter in a pleasant frame of mind, giving some help. So, this is a good model of a letter in which we refuse the adjustment. We can look at another letter having the same subject. Dear Mr. Shibley, we are sorry that you are not completely satisfied with your vacuum cleaner. You are entirely justified in expecting more than 4 years of reliable use from an appliance. And we are always eager to service any product that does not for some reason live up to standard. We appreciate your giving us the opportunity to examine the damaged vacuum cleaner. According to our service department, the filter had never been replaced, although the owner's manual advises replacement every few months. As a result, the motor itself gradually became clogged with dust and dirt. The cost of repair and cleaning the vacuum is estimated at ₹500. If you would like to have it repaired, please let us know. With regular cleaning and replacement of the filter and exhaust pipe, you should receive several more years of service from your appliance. Yours truly. So, you have seen that this second letter too is emphasizing on giving pleasant facts, though the letter is saying no to the customer, but the facts given to the reader are being given in a very pleasant way. It shows the reader that the company, that the organization is concerned about the problem of the reader. So this is how we write adjustment letter, in which we refuse the adjustment or we do not give the claim. We discussed in the beginning that there are 3 types of adjustment letter. The first type was when the adjustment is granted. The second time, that type that you just saw, in which the adjustment is not granted, rather refused. The third type is the type in which the fault for the problem does not lie with the seller, and it also does not lie with the buyer. So the fault is with somebody else. It is the third party. It is the carrier. It may be some shipping agency, it may be some courier, it may be some trucking agency, it may be some air cargo, any service providing agency. So what happened when the problem lies with the third party? When this situation comes, normally there are 3 options with the seller, because the seller has received a claim letter in which he has been informed about some problem, right? Some damaged goods, some poor service, some problem with the invoice, or etc., etc. So in this situation, the writer of the adjustment letter is faced with 3 options. Number 1, that he should honor the claim without giving explanation. Number 2, that he honors the claim but gives an explanation that how the problem occurred. And number 3, that he takes no action and he suggests the claimant to contact the third party. So far as number 1 is concerned, when we honor the claim, we honor the claim without giving an explanation. This situation happens when we feel that the adjustment involved is not of much value. Rather, we value more to our customer than to the product involved. So, obviously, both the reader and the writer, both the person or the company giving the adjustment and receiving the adjustment are happy in this situation. And obviously, the plan that we will be using in writing such a letter will be a good news message plan, starting with the good news, and we are not giving any explanation in this first option, so we are ending the letter with a friendly close. We may like to add some sale promotional material into it, but very simple letter, and the letter which is always favorable to read. In the second type of the letter, we are going to honor the claim, again honor the claim, but here we feel that it's important to give some explanation. Sometimes we do want that we must give explanation. Our reader, I mean the person receiving the adjustment, should know very well that we are favoring him by giving this adjustment, though we are not responsible for this adjustment. In this situation, we may, after giving him the explanation, we may say that we will file the case against the carrier ourselves, or etc. So again, with a good news plan and ending with some courteous close. No importance to any action because we don't require here. Then comes the third type of the letter, when the third party is at fault. This type of the letter is the letter in which we take no action. We simply tell the customer that we are not at fault, and we may like to give some proof of our not being fault, and we tell that they should contact the responsible themselves. This situation happens when we want to dissituate ourselves from any bad consequences. So this type of a letter will be written with an inductive organizational plan, right? So maybe buffer in the beginning, then explanation, and then telling the situation. Or we can also use here the direct approach, because we know that we are not fault and we are telling the situation to the customer or the reader of the letter. So there are 3 options to write such a letter when the third party is at fault. So let's look at the letter. Dear sir, we are sending by courier 3 TV sets to replace the ones damaged in shipment. They must reach you before September 7. We are sending our claim against the courier for the set you received. Will you please leave the damaged ones in a convenient place till the inspector from courier service calls on you for a checkup? Yours sincerely. So this is type of a letter in which we are honoring the claim and also giving explanation that we are not at fault. We are going to fill the claim against the carrier. So this is what adjustment letter is. Adjustment letter are written in response to claim letter, and claim letters are the letters which are written when there is some problem, when the buyer or a person has a problem, has some complaint against somebody, but we do not use the word complaint for this, we use claim. So adjustment letter are written in response to claim letter, and there are 3 types of adjustment letter. Number one, when the buyer is at fault. Number two, when the seller is at fault. And number three, when the third party is at fault. So when the seller is at fault, in most of the cases, adjustment is made and the good news plan is used. When the buyer is at fault, sometime adjustment is made, but most of the time it's not appropriate to make the adjustment. So the letter is written saying no, and an inductive organizational plan is used. And number three, when the third party is at fault. And when the third party is at fault, there are three options. Either the seller honor the claim without explanation or explain it. This is the second type. And in third type, no action is taken, and the situation is told to the reader that he or she or they should contact the third party themselves. So with this, we end this topic and we move on to our next topic. So it's credit. What is credit? It's an instrument which enables manufacturers, producers, retailers, and all the businessmen to buy goods or to hire services even if the ready cash is not available. So no business can deny that it does not run on without having credit. Most of the business is carried out on credit. So what is credit? Credit is a promise of future payment in cash or kind given in exchange for goods or services. So it's a promise of future payment in cash or any kind. So credit is as old as the business itself. So people have to write credit letters. They can be very helpful. Credit letter basically can help the people, and with it people can buy now and pay later. They can avoid carrying cash with them or writing checks. They can exchange and buy on approval more easily. So it is sort of a facility for the people. Obviously, when you want to seek a line of credit, you have to make a request for credit line to some organization. It may be a bank, it may be some financial organization, or it may be some other organization. So you have to make a request that you are interested in establishing a line of credit. So in the first place, you have to write letter which are written to make a request for the establishing of this credit line. Obviously, when you make a request, the company receives the letter, the request letter, and then they analyze this situation, they analyze the letter, they make the decision whether they should allow you this facility, the facility of credit or not. How do they allow you? Obviously, you give some referee to them, or you send some financial statement of your organization, or any sort of reference which tells them that you are solid enough, you have capital strength to give the credit back. So when people are evaluating this situation, they normally write letters to the referees. So when a referee receives letters from other organization asking them to give information, there can be two possibilities. Either they feel that the person whom they are going to recommend as capable enough of paying back the credit. Or the second option is that they feel that the person is not capable enough. So in both the cases they write letters telling the exact situation to the inquirer. Then after receiving the information from the referee, an evaluation is made whether giving credit to a certain person is good for the organization or not. So if it is decided that this line can be extended, so we write a letter in which we extend the line of credit. But as I said, not in always all the cases this is possible. So sometimes we do have to write a refusal letter, a letter in which we are refusing the credit facility to a certain person, to a certain customer. So there can be these type of letter. So credit, as I said, is important because it runs the most of the business of the day. So when you are going to make a credit request, you need to be very careful. You have to write a very courteous letter, and you have to explain all the facts. Sometimes it can be a very short letter having just 2 lines in which you just tell the reader that you are interested to establish a line of credit, and you may ask for some blank form, because the companies, the organization which extend this facility to the people, they normally have some printed blank form and they send it to the people who are interested. As you can see that nowadays we have banks which extend this facility to individuals as well as to organizations, and they have a form. So anybody seeking a line of credit, anybody looking for a credit card or any loan will simply fill in the blank form and will make a request. So this is in fact a request letter. But sometime as businessman you have to write a letter of request. So when you are writing a letter of request, you need to follow the certain guideline. Direct statement of the request, as it's going to be written on the direct plan, so direct statement of the request, but phrase the opening to reflect the assumption that the reader will respond favorably to your request. As we do in all request letter, that we phrase our first sentence in such a way that attracts the attention of the reader. Then phrase the opening so clearly and simply that the main idea cannot be misunderstood. You can start your letter with such a sentence: I am interested in establish a credit line with you, or I am interested to know about your credit facility. So this type of a sentence can give the idea of the message to the reader. But write in a very polite and in a very personal tone. Then come on to the justification and explanation. Itemize part of a request in a numbered series. Since you want to know the limit of the credit, you want to know about the billing and about certain other things regarding the credit, the length of the credit, the rate of interest on it. So it is this in explanation part, this is good that you explain each and every question of your in a numbered way. So do not ask questions that you could answer through your own efforts. Arrange question logically. I mean, sometimes we do not take care of this. If it is possible, number question, word question to avoid clues about the answer you prefer. So this is the explanation part. And then the courteous close with request for a specific action. Ask them for the blank form if they have, or ask them for any specific action. But we also need to add one thing into the explanation part, and that is we sometimes also give the names of referees. For example, we ask them to inquire about our financial standing from our banks. So we need to tell them that they can contact our bankers whose address is given below or wherever we have made it. So that this can be helpful if the company wants to inquire about us. So let's look at a letter. Dear Mr. Ahmed, we are a newly established appliance repair business interested in acquiring a business credit card. Small shop owners in the area have informed us that business credit cards are a convenient, organized, and efficient way of handling small day-to-day expenses, such as office supplies or equipment. Please send us more information concerning the terms of your business credit card. Particularly, we are interested in interest rate, annual fees, the process of obtaining card, remittance requirement, and security measures available. Any additional information would also be appreciated. Thank you for your time. We look forward to hearing from you. So you look at this letter, that how vividly and logically the writer of this letter has explained and has made his request, asking about the details one by one. Have a look at another letter and you'll see in which the person is offering a referee too. Dear sir, we are a newly established business and desire to open a credit account with your company. For reference as to our ability to meet our financial obligations, we refer you to our banker whose address is given on the back of the letter. If there is any other information you require in order to extend us the privilege of a credit account with you, we shall be glad to have, so inform us. Yours truly. So this is a small letter compared to the first one, but it also serves its purpose, explaining the situation, giving the main idea in the beginning. So you have written the letter, making a request, and now it is the second part of the letter. The second part of the letter is for asking information. It is the organization who is to extend the line of credit. So what they will do, they will write letter to the referees. So they will write letter to the referee using the direct plan as which we have just discussed, and as you will see in the model letter, that how the questions are numbered. This is a very important letter because it can be used as a permanent legal record, and in any litigation, any difficulties, this can be used. So everything regarding this letter must be written, must be taken care of very carefully. So let's look at a letter which is being written by an organization to a referee asking about the financial strength of some person or organization which made a request for establishing a line of credit. Ladies and gentlemen, subject credit inquiry. The following applicant has given your name as a credit reference. Mr. Ahmed, Lahore Towers, Lahore. We would appreciate your giving us the confidential information requested below. Date the account was opened, terms of the account, credit limit, current balance, past due amount, date of last activity, payment history, remarks. A postpaid return envelope is enclosed for your convenience. Your help will certainly be appreciated, and all information will be kept confidential. Sincerely. So you look at this letter, especially again the last paragraph of the letter. It is very important that the reader of this letter must be given this confidence that any information, good or bad, will be kept in confidence. This is very important because as a referee, this is our responsibility to be very honest, because this is some sort of money matter, and it needs to be dealt with carefully and honestly. So it is important that the referee must be assured that any information he or she sends to the party will be in confidence. So after we have received an information from the referee, now we have to evaluate. When we are evaluating, what we have to take care of? We have to take care of the 3 C's. Number 1 is character, number 2 is capacity, and number 3 is capital. Number 1 is character. We have to look at the referee's response, whether the person asking for credit is a man of character, is honest, does he meet his or her obligations. It's very important. And is he willing to pay? So number 1 is character. Number 2 is capacity. Capacity, his ability to pay. Obviously, what is the income, or what is the potential income or financial strength of the person? It comes here. Then capital. Capital refers to tangible assets in relation to debts. Capital also determines the ability to pay if the debtor does not pay willingly. That is, if the debtor does not pay willingly, his capital should be of enough value to pay the credit back to the organization giving credit. So these C's are very important. When you are going to extend credit line, you have to take care of these guidelines. Welcome the new customer and express the wish for a pleasant association. Show that you are glad that the person is interested. Outline special privileges that are available. For example, by establishing this facility of credit, you can tell the customer that what are the privileges they are going to have from this credit facility. For example, as with banks, you know that they tell you that their card is welcome at certain stores, at certain big restaurant, hotels, etc. So this is the type of privilege that needs to be given to the reader. Here now you explain the terms of payment, that how the payment is made. Monthly payment, quarterly payment, or whatever. Then encourage the customers to use the new charge account and enclose promotional material. By telling him the privileges, you encourage the customer that he or she should use your card as much as possible. And then end the letter by building goodwill, indicating your eagerness to serve the new customer. So this is how a letter in which the good news of giving a credit facility is given. So let's look at a letter written following the same guideline. Dear Mr. Hassan, we take pleasure in opening a charge account at Brights with your name. I feel sure that this will be the start of a long and mutually pleasant association. As a charge customer, you will enjoy many privileges at Brights. For instance, our charge customers receive advance notices of special sales. They may also use their cards at our terrace restaurants and book rental department. By the 1st of each month, you will receive an itemized statement of your purchases made through the 25th day of preceding month. Purchases made after the 25th appear on the following month bill. Payments are due by the 10th, and a monthly charge of 1.5 will be made on the balance remaining at that time. We hope you will make regular use of charge account. Sincerely yours. So you can see that how the writer of this letter has welcomed the new customer, how he's been told about the privileges that he is going to receive, how the explanation about the payments is being made, and in the end how the customer has been invited to use the card. So this was an example letter in which a certain person who had requested for a credit was granted this line of credit. After evaluation, he was given the credit facility, and a good news plan letter was written. But not in all situations we extend this facility. As you have seen, in every type of letter we do have to write refusal letters. So again we have a refusal letter here. When you are writing this letter, again you are encountered with the same problem. You have to say no, and you have to keep the goodwill of the customer. So saying no and keeping the goodwill of the customer, this is your purpose. And how are you going to achieve this purpose is very, very difficult. But why are you going to refuse? Here we have the first question. There can be certain reason for this. In certain situation we have to say no. For example, there is lack of established credit, overextension of credit which may result in an inability to pay bills on time, unwillingness to pay that which is owed according to the credit reporting agency. So it is that the person is unable to pay the credit, or he has exceeded the limits given to him by other companies, or his financial strength is not that sound that he can pay his credit later on. But here the businessman has to make the decision very wisely. Sometimes it happens that somebody has applied for the first time, they have just started any business, and without considering much we say no to them, but later on they happen to be a very giant organization, they grow very fast, and then we repent that we should have thought of it earlier, we should have given more thought to this situation of giving credit. So whenever we are to write these letters, we have to be very careful. So follow this guideline. When you are going to say no, eliminate apologies and negative sounding word. You don't have to say that any negative word, or use any negative word, or make any apology for not granting the facility of credit. Phrase the buffer to avoid misleading the reader. I mean, don't give impression in the beginning that the facility is being granted. Limit the length of the buffer. It's better that the more concise you are, the better it is in understanding. Express appreciation for the credit request. Do use this opportunity by telling the customer that you like the way they approach you for this credit facilities. Shows that they have some feeling for you. Introduce resale information. I mean, tell something about your product. Make a transition from favorable to unfavorable message. This requires skill, a lot of skill on the part of the writer. From favorable, from appreciation of the customer, and you are coming to the situation. Make transition from the journal to the specific. I mean, discussing something journal, come to the point. Avoid a condescending lecture about how credit is earned. Don't use this aspect in your. Don't show that you are patronizing, and you are using a patronizing tone in your letter, or you are in a lecturing way that how credit should be given and how credit should be explained, etc. You don't have to make a sermon. Avoid negative words such as we must decline your request. Suggest positive alternative such as cash and layaway purchases. I mean, here you can suggest that you have the goods ready, and if the customer want to have the goods, you can send them on COD or on cash. So this can be very helpful. It shows the customer that you have to some extent honor them as an organization or as a person who is dealing in a certain business. So here sometimes we also include the references made by the referees. We may include in our letter that it is not the time to extend the credit facility. Maybe in future when the relationship is more strengthened, is stronger, then this facility can be granted to them. Or you can tell that since the person has a lot of loans, overloaning, and when they have minimized or settled their loans, they can make a request for this facility. So keeping all these things, you write a letter. So you write a letter with the inductive plan, you use buffer as we just discussed, then explain the situation, then your decision is there. It may be clearly stated or it may be employed, and close with a very friendly manner. So let's look at a letter. Dear Mr. Hassan, thank you very much for your order of April 7. We are glad that you are interested in our product because you will find them a source of profit and goodwill building. Just now, however, we are without sufficient information to permit us to ship this order on credit terms. We feel sure that we can make shipment in this way after you have become more firmly established in business. As in the case all those who apply for credit, we have made a careful investigation of your resources and credit obligation. Since you have number of loans commitment, may we suggest that you continue to allow us to send you on a cash basis until such time as you are able to reduce your personal obligations. You may be sure that we will welcome the opportunity of considering your application again when circumstances are more favorable towards your receiving additional credit. Yours sincerely. So you have just seen that this letter is written in a very good manner. I mean, the letter has a no, but it still has the goodwill. Whenever we have to write such letter, we should be very careful in writing these letter. We must avoid using any negative words. We must include any resale information. We must bring our reader from favorable to unfavorable, and we must add something positive which can give a good impression to our readers. So you have seen that there are different types of credit letter: when we make a request, when we grant a request, and when we refuse a request, and they are written on different organizational plan. First two are written on good news plan, direct request plan, and the third one is written on a indirect plan. So I hope that you must have understood this credit letter. With this we finish our today's lecture. We'll be discussing some new topic in the next lecture. You have so far gone through many topics of communication, business communication, different types of letter, and I'm very positive that by now you must be very familiar with this subject. So we finish our topic today and see you in the next lecture. Khuda Hafiz.